Well, welcome. As we're gathered here today, we're celebrating this story. And this story is not just any story. Well, is it? This story is one about a special demon who couldn't control his impulses. These impulses, well, they led to death, despair, and other things. You wouldn't believe it if I told you. But how could you? You're just a human being listening to this, who's never seen any demonic presence, who hasn't seen any spiritual presence. And if you're a skeptic at home, well, you're in for a ride. Why? Everything you know about the universe, everything you know is surely gone. This demon's name is Ramdieous. He was a demigod. And then, when the Greek gods fell and the Christian God came in, his power was loose. And then when Lucifer decided to, well, get the demons down into the earth, they tricked Ramdieous to ultimate power because the Greek gods had fell. And the other gods, the Aztec gods, the Norse gods, they were, as you could call it, on a retirement home. The only god left to give power was the Christian God, the God of love. And well, this God of love loved every single being that was created. Whether it was human, whether it was faithful to him or to something else. But you can't tell it. You can't tell the difference between him or karma or the universe. Wiccans believed that, well, his power was the power of three. The power in which if you give bad karma and do bad spells, you give twice the danger back, or twice the danger back. This could be all explained. However, it was all found powers from the God of love, as he was the only God that had celebrated life and celebrated being the king of heaven. This heaven was an obituary to life. It was a doorway to spirits and souls' next experience after death. Some call it Valhalla, some call it reincarnation, and well, some don't see anything. That is their heaven. And Ramdieous, well, this demon, not yet demon, demigod, actually. He had fun. He had fun having orgies because his particular skill was that he can craft any part of his body to be bigger and smaller. So if his partner didn't appreciate big tools, for to say, he would craft it lower and smaller. And if the partner well loved big tools, you know the saying. There was one orgy that, well, ended in a tremendous death of everyone. And I'm not talking about Homelander. That is shortly fiction. I'm talking about the reality 1,000 years ago, when Ramdieous had thrown his first orgy. The first orgy that he can ever get. He threw every single room a love spell. He put fornication tools in every single room, and well, they were used. He would make sure every room was filled with lust and love, that two couples who've never even met each other would fall instantly in love and start participating in activities. The night was when Lucifer decided to join. Lucifer offered Ramdieous a place in hell after being casted out of heaven and casted away from the god of love and all the other gods. Let's start back up again. I'm sorry for the interruptions. Maybe that's because I was talking about Ramdieous. And Ramdieous didn't love me talking about him. But the lore goes that the orgy was successful. There were people all in rooms, fucking, until their hearts desired. Climaxes rising up and down. There was enough cum on the floor that if you slipped, your head would hit it, and blood would rush out if you busted your skull open. And that blood would mix with cum, dried cum. Now I know this sounds weird. I know it does. But it's reality. We must face it. Lucifer went there, and as Lucifer's most devious tricks, he was the god of tricks. Some called him evil, some didn't. Well, he offered Ramdieous a second chance of becoming a full god instead of being this little demigod. Ramdieous, in fact, was saying, isn't there a war between you two? Like, you and your dad, you guys are just fighting. Like, the Greek god, Zeus would have never treated you guys like this. He never treated Hercules like this. And then Lucifer opened up his palm, to which a scroll appeared, fell down on the ground, and filled the whole floor. And well, that paper was getting clothed and soaked into cum from everyone else's leavings. The paper upwards had a sign. Ramdieous didn't know what he was doing, like most teens nowadays. And he said, Well, if you're gonna give me power, I love these girls. Right, girls? And the girls in the background, all, when they're in climax. Yeah, yeah, oh yes! And Ramdieous, well, using his demigod papers, made his hand a quill, signed that contract. That was a mistake. Ramdieous, well, you see, Ramdieous then felt a breath of fire in his throat. Fire would go down his throat, and suffocation is what it felt like. And you can say, we've all felt suffocation, but not like this one. You can taste the fire if you were Ramdieous. Ramdieous would taste the burning flesh and his throat burning, and it went straight down to his heart, and it burned whatever feelings he had, and it burned whatever heart was there. Ramdieous, well, Ramdieous then looked at Lucifer with hatred, and with a short saying, What did you do? What'd you do? And Lucifer, now in his full demonic form, I said, I will give you God powers. And Ramdieous tried to attack Lucifer, and Lucifer then raised up his palm. Ramdieous paused. My bad, Ramdieous, for making the sentence weird. You see, I keep forgetting this tale, so I won't mess up. But as the rain and thunder outside emphasizes my great tale, this is no joke. Ramdieous tried and tried to hurt Lucifer, struggling while in a force-like grip. Lucifer, well, he smiled, licked with the tongue that was 9 to 10 inches and that was hard as sandpaper. It licked on Ramdieous' face, burned his flesh on his face, threw him down, and Ramdieous got out of control. All he seen was red. And this is where the blood comes in. Ramdieous, all he seen around was anger and flesh to burn. Then Lucifer, the devil himself, he disappeared. Well, the next step is easy. That was short long gone. Ramdieous suddenly found that he could have fire in his hands. That fire released from his hands scorched every single girl and every single dude that was in his orgy in the basement and where he was standing. Ramdieous then found that his body was transforming to a demonic-like creature, like a scaly creature. He had claws. And then, to everyone else that survived the burns, he had slit their throats, rumbled through their bones, like if he's hunting for ribs. But he wasn't. He was hunting for anger and vengeance. You see, this vengeance has been built ever since Zeus didn't give him the full god powers that Zeus promised him. And you see, Ramdieous knew of a god killer machine. And that's what his first thought was. But he wanted to have fun before killing all gods and becoming a god himself. But with all this anger and the rage in the moment of slashing and killing horny teenagers, horny people, and everyone in a lustful mood, breaking their silence and breaking their connections, quite literally sometimes, well, it had seemed to Ramdieous as a minute. But in actuality, Ramdieous was killing everyone for 5 hours. Everyone would run, nude, under the blankets. Some of them hid. It was like the early show of a horror movie. Everyone did stupid decisions because they were blinded by the fact of lust. They weren't thinking logically, they were thinking with their dicks and their pussies. So how are you going to survive a demon clawing at you? You won't. And that's when Ramdieous woke up, slaughtered with blood all over himself, his house. Everyone was dead. Nude. Slaughtered. Some died with a lustful action, and some died with fear, but were still under a lust spell. You know how that can turn out. Ramdieous went to hell to have a word with Lucifer. Lucifer promised him godlike powers, and he was going to get it. Reaching the 10th circle of hell, reaching where Lucifer was, Ramdieous asked Lucifer if he was joking. He asked, "Did you give me demon powers, or did you give me fucking god powers like I asked?" And Lucifer sat on his blood-like, bone-crusted throne and just laughed, smiled. You know the answers, so why are you asking them? Ramdieous, now with claws raging out of his arms, replacing the fingertips and replacing the human skin that he once had. He tried attacking Lucifer. But Lucifer said, "This is my throne, my place. How stupid can you be?" Lucifer took his powers away. But you see, the thing that's funny is, once their battle had happened, Ramdieous actually knew what he was doing to kill a god. Because he's killed one before. Have you all heard of the god of generosity? If not, well, it's because he's dead. So now, Lucifer had a challenge. Lucifer was fighting for his life, fighting for the throne of hell. You think he's gonna give that up? No. But Ramdieous wanted godlike powers, not a throne. Just like my kitty over here. Well, he's curiosity. Because curiosity killed the cat. And that's for another story. But did you know, once Lucifer fought, Ramdieous actually got a claw on Lucifer's throat. First person in history to do it. Lucifer pushed Ramdieous with the force of evil away from him, leaving him to bleed out from his fucking throat. Throat was bleeding out. It was green, mixed with the pinkest type of blood. And the thing was funny, because Ramdieous laughed while Lucifer was angry. got his sword, the one he uses to kill other gods with, and lit it with hell's fire, which hasn't been used before. Now, Lucifer went, and he stabbed Ramdieous in the heart and the arms, cutting off his limbs, and then went for the head. Ramdieous said a spell before he did that to transport him. Lucifer sent demons after him, and well, we all know how demons go. Ramdieous ended up teleporting to the place he was wanting, which was the temple of the god Killer. This is a story about the temple. A story for another time, and I'm getting a little bit... So, point is, Ramdieous went to that temple. There was no one in there, nothing in there. He wasn't even a god yet. He was half godlike. Grabbing just a simple blade was easy for him. But this blade had techniques to rip apart the atoms of a god, leaving it where it's ripped apart and has no soul. So he figured he would go after Lucifer first. This was a mistake. "20 years of hunting demons," Ramdieous was. And Ramdieous finally got back to hell. After gaining amputee type of arms, he went to hell. Lucifer and him knew exactly what weapon he was wielding, and he was handing in his arm. But Lucifer didn't care. He was up for the challenge, because if he actually can kill Ramdieous and grab that blade, well, he will have a blade that can kill other gods, that can kill his father. So, why not go up for the challenge? And that's what Ramdieous did. He went to the challenge to kill Lucifer, and Lucifer did the same. And this battle was one of the greatest any other like heaven or hell battles, or Greek and Spartan battles. This one involved hell being broken. And once the even playing field was going on, once Ramdieous found out how to transport and master that skill, he transported them both to the place that it began. Lucifer and him had overwinds and overwits, just like this cat who's trying to hunt for a bug. But the point to here is Lucifer ended up winning. That part I will let you up to know, to imagine. And once winning, he grabbed the blade, but it burned his soul and it burned his hand, where Lucifer could not feel anymore, where he had to regenerate and recuperate with the evilest place back to hell. So, in return of such an evil consequence, Lucifer banned Ramdieous from hell, and if Ramdieous would ever try to go back down to hell, well, Ramdieous would burn and feel the hatred that the place was burned and born on. He also cursed him with a gift of demonic abilities and powers. This was, you should say, the first vampire, because Ramdieous wasn't just any demon. He had to have a taste of blood before, every evening. But he wasn't having things or any pop cultural type vampire shit. No, Ramdieous was simply just hunting like a hunter for deer and ate human blood. Sometimes he would trap them up like a lust spell, have sex with his prey, and then eat. I know it's fucked up. I know. I'm not the one who made this history. But Ramdieous would certainly fit in to the modern times as it became 1978. He learned how to use human governments and how to betray every government and make war. Because if the god of love above has his humans go to war, he would betray and blame the Lucifer down below. And that would cause them to fight and cause Lucifer to go up here in this plane or in heaven. And well, Ramdieous wasn't banned from heaven. Ramdieous wasn't even a demon at the time and hasn't even spoken to the god of love. All Ramdieous has been banned from hell. It's kind of hard to be banned from hell, right? Well, he was. And once Ramdieous tried to figure out how to get his revenge on Lucifer, there was a prophecy foretold by a witch that in 2010 there would be icons coming together, beings coming together, in which he can use it for souls to collect to become a god. And that's where we end up to modern day, to this world of where we need help. Ramdieous isn't so forgiving.